Namaskar everyone. Today I'm here with a quote from Pythagoras, whom you all know for the Pythagorean theorem, a mathematical formula that calculates the length of a right triangle's hypotenuse. Pythagoras was not only a mathematician but was also a Greek philosopher and religious teacher who lived from 570 to 495 before Christ era. He was born on the island of Samos and established his school in Croton, southern Italy. The quote from Pythagoras that will be discussed in this video is, "For as long as men massacre animals, they will kill each other. Indeed, he who sows the seed of murder and pain cannot reap joy and love." I repeat the quote. For as long as men massacre animals, they will kill each other. Indeed, he who sows the seed of murder and pain cannot reap joy and love. And now that you have heard the quote, it's time to analyze the same. So let's start. So, you see, the Pythagoras' quote reflects a deep philosophical and ethical attitude on the interconnectedness of all life. His words suggest that a violent human beings cause on animals directly reflects and promotes violence within human society. The quote clearly connects the act of killing animals to the broader moral consequence of humanity's behavior towards one another. The phrase massacre animals is a criticism of unnecessary violence and exploitation of other living beings for human desire or unethical gain. Pythagoras suggests that when people normalize the slaughter of animals, they become indifferent to suffering, giving rise to a culture where empathy erodes, goes away. And this insensitiveness can extend beyond animals to fellow human beings, weakening the moral fabric that binds societies together. It can be illustrated with the help of the universal law of cause and effect. Just as seeds of murder and pain cannot produce joy and love, actions rooted in harm and cruelty produce consequences of conflict and disharmony. Violence produces violence, and the lack of compassion leads to a cycle of aggression that undermines harmony, but within individuals and among communities. In the 21st century, when conflict, animosity, and riots have become a common trend in societies across the world, where devastating wars have become a common trend across the world, the words of Pythagoras hold even more ground. His words are a reminder for the entire humanity to reconsider its treatment of animals as a reflection of its collective values. His quotes urges us to cultivate kindness, arguing that genuine love and joy can only flourish in a world where respect for all forms of life is emphasized. Advocating for compassion and non-violence, Pythagoras' philosophy can be linked with ethical vegetarianism, veganism, and animal welfare. Now the question is, in this world where most of us salivates or say lust for animal meat, animal flesh, how far the quote from Pythagoras holds ground? Now to this, I have few things to say. Number one, just because humans are omnivorous does not mean we should also act like carnivorous animals, such as hyenas, jackals, or lions. Now, unlike wild animals that walk butt naked in the jungle, we are intelligent and live in a civilized society, so we should behave accordingly. Number two, today, if we live in a civilized and peaceful society and not places afflicted by war or disaster, we will always have much better and healthier choices than the flesh, the meat produced by the meat industry. We must also come out of our comfort zone and learn about the effects of the harmful chemicals and steroids used by the meat industry to produce those highly desirable fleshes that we crave for. Point number 3. If consuming animal flesh becomes absolutely necessary, such as in situations where no alternatives are available or when it is essential for recovering from extremely poor health, we should make this choice responsibly. We must consume only what is needed to meet our requirements and not to satisfy excessive or greedy cravings. Moreover, we should hold deep gratitude for the animals that provide us with nourishment for our survival. Point number 4. One of our contemporary and inspirational Vedantic philosophers rightly says that we are beings with higher consciousness and should act accordingly. We must use our intellect and awareness to distinguish between what is right and humane and what is wrong and inhumane. We should use the same intelligence and consciousness that prevents us from being cannibals to guide us to reconsidering viewing animals merely as food. Point number 5. We must not fall into the trap of ignorance by comparing animal slaughter to acts like plucking fruits or harvesting vegetables. Basic education has already taught us that many plants and trees naturally produce food, such as fruits and grains, to be consumed by other beings. This is never the case in the animal kingdom, as no animal willingly offers his body parts or young ones to be eaten by others. Point number 6. We must also understand that the level of consciousness in plant life is far less developed than in animal life. Unlike animals, plants do not have a central nervous system, which makes them far less susceptible, if at all, in experiencing pain. Therefore, comparing the killing of animals to plucking fruits and vegetables is as illogical and nonsensical as comparing the sweating of a mosquito or fly to the murder of a human being. The last point. We must also understand that killing animals to satisfy our greed strips us of our humanity and compassion. No matter how humane, spiritual, or religious we project ourselves to be. Such actions take away our ability for empathy, a necessary trait of a civilized human being. This in turn promotes greater violence within us, ultimately contributing to a more violent society. In conclusion, after analyzing the quote, I believe that a vegan diet is the best choice for a civilized human being living in a peaceful and developed society. However, in rare emergencies where no other food sources are available, one may consume animal flesh solely for survival until healthier and more ethical alternatives can be found. That's all about the quote. And now I would love to know your views on the quote and on the analysis and dialysis that I've given for the same. Use the comment box below to offer your views. See you later with another quote and another video. Bye-bye.